Okay, let's roll right into our post-race for the 54th running of the Daytona 500, and what a race it was. And our race runner-up is Dale Earnhardt Jr. He drives the number 88 Diet Mountain Dew National Guard Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. And Dale, what a night. You saw a little bit of everything out there tonight, but what an exciting race you guys and gal put on for the fans here tonight. And congratulations on a terrific way to start the season.
Yeah, it was a good finish for us. I'm really pleased to be able to get good points tonight. But the Roush cars were just really strong. They'd shown that all week. I really didn't know just how good they were till I got up there those last 60 laps. And I could get in between them, but I couldn't get in front of them. Just didn't have enough car to get around them and get the lead. But I'm happy for Matt. He's going to need that for his college fund. And them kids will be in good shape now. But, I'm happy for our team, too. We had a really good-looking race car, good craftsmanship, and I was real proud of that. And, you bring such a nice car down here, and the chances of you tearing it up is pretty high. The odds are always kind of high. You get caught up in something like we saw at the end of the race. But I was really happy to be able to take the car home in one piece. And liked the way the motor ran, liked the way the car drove. It was a little bit of a bizarre week with the rain and all that, but, we stuck around and got it all done.
Questions for Dale? If you have one, raise your hand. Let's go all the way to the back to George, then over here to Tom. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, Dale, George Diaz with the Orlando Sentinel. Was it more of a case that you felt Greg was basically blocking you, or he wasn't going to try to help, have you pass Matt?
I don't think that he was worried about me. This is the Daytona 500, and I don't know what it pays, but it's a lot of money. And his team, I know that they're teammates, but his group of guys that specifically work on that car or travel down here to pit the car during the race, his crew chief, Greg himself, they work way too hard
no questions yet,
to decide to run second in a scenario like that. I'm pretty sure that if I know Greg, and you can ask him here in a bit, if he had an opportunity to get around Matt and had a chance to win Daytona 500, he would have took it immediately. He was trying to do what he could do. If I were him, I can't imagine what his game plan was in his head. But if I were him, I would have tried to let me let me push him by, and then pull down in front of Matt, and force Matt to be my pusher, and then leave the 88 for the dogs. So, but that didn't work out. I saw Greg try to get a move going on the back straightaway, and it looked like Matt defended that really well. And I waited for Greg to have another opportunity on the exit of turn 4, and it did not seem to be materializing. My spotter was keeping me aware of how much distance was between Greg and Matt. And so when I knew that Greg did not have a chance to pass Matt, I would try to pass Greg if I could.
Let's go over here to Tom, then we'll go to Holly, then we'll go to press box. Go ahead, Tom.
Hi, Dale. Tom Jensen, Speed.com. You seem like you're very frustrated or angry.
No.
Afterwards, no?
Right? No, sir, not at all. Just it's been a long day, and it's just been a long night. I'm very happy. I'm really in a good place. I'm not frustrated at all, I promise. I'm in a great mood. I run second here a lot, though. So I know I don't feel it right now, but I know later tonight and tomorrow and the rest of the week it's going to eat at me what I could have done to win the race. So that is kind of frustrating, but no, I'm fine. I think that we did everything we could at the end. And I hate to interrupt. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'll let you ask your question.
That's okay. But is there anything really that you can do as just one person? I mean, it seems like all these races, even with all the rule changes, you got to do it in pairs.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, this new package really didn't come down to tandem racing at the end. I mean, me and Greg were pushing like heck, and we couldn't get to Matt. So they have definitely made some strides in trying to make that not the definite way to win in a Nextel Cup level. So I like the rule changes. I'm sure that I was riding along in the middle of that race and I was thinking, the fans probably are wondering whether this is better or not, because there wasn't a ton of action. Like the low line really had a dominant deal going there, and the top couldn't get any action happening. And that was, but I think everybody was just calm and not, everybody was fine with how things were going. It didn't really matter at the point. It didn't really matter after Truex took the 200 that was on the line. Nothing else was really that important until the end of the race. So everybody started racing hard at the end, and then, you had your accidents that you'll typically happen, and then the finish was quite exciting, I thought. So I kind of like the package, obviously. It definitely suits my style better. And I can do things on my own, maybe not, definitely going to need some help to win races. But I definitely can do more on my own like this. But in the old package, you needed someone else the entire race, and that's not fun.
Let's go Holly, then we'll go to the press box, and then back down here to Dan. Go ahead, Holly.
Hi, Dale. Holly Kane, FoxSports.com. I'm guessing, I know that the Daytona 500 is its own animal, but I'm guessing this is the preferred way to start the season for you. And, your other three teammates had a really rough night tonight. If you could just talk about the start to the year for you.
Yeah, that is important. You do want to come in here and make sure the press knows that you wanted to win the race, because the press are going to tell the fans what you thought, and you don't want to give anyone the impression that you are fine running second, because I'm not. But I am happy with the points I got tonight, because it is a tough hole to climb out of, and this new system really makes it a little different and makes you uneasy. So I am happy to be able to come out of here and not look back throughout the season and look at this race as one of the ones where we give some points away like we did last year.
Let's go to the press box for two. Go ahead. Go ahead, press box.
Dale, how do you parlay what happened here tonight, going to Phoenix, going to Las Vegas? I mean, you're not going to have this type of racing again until you get to Talladega.
Right.
But yet it's the positive, upbeat feeling that you get. And also, you were real concerned about how soft and wet turn 3 was when you first got it started.
Yes, sir. The track held up well. The drivers did not get an opportunity to see the track before we restarted, and I can only assume as I go through there and I hear stuff flying up into the crush panels that it's asphalt. When you're a driver and you're running on a racetrack and you hear things flying up, that's not typically normal. So I just assumed the track was pretty soft, but it held up well. They did a great job. That deal, when we come off that turn, that was very scary and looked very tragic and looked like something that was going to be tragic. And so I was happy to hear that everybody was okay and able to go home to their families tonight. And it was an unfortunate incident, but NASCAR did a great job to finish the show. And they took their time, and they did it right. So I was kind of happy how that all turned out. But, yeah, we'll go to Phoenix with a good attitude, and we feel like we can go to Phoenix and run well. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay, let's go press box. Another question. Go ahead.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Dale, I know you've seen a lot of strange things in racing, but this race seemed like an appropriately bizarre capper to a very strange speed weeks in general. Can you kind of talk about what happened here the last week, and did you think that all the crazy fluky stuff that was happening in the last week was like maybe leading to something like what you saw tonight with all the craziness that went on?
Yeah, I don't really remember anything else that happened earlier than tonight.
That's two of us.
Yeah. Yesterday and today really sapped my memory pretty good, but my feeling, the thing that comes into my mind is that just NASCAR can't catch a break. We're trying to deliver, and we just have some unfortunate things happen, such as the rain delay. Potholes in the track a couple years ago or whatever, things like that. And it's just, we're a good sport, and we're just trying to give a good product. And it's unfortunate that our biggest event was delayed, but I think everybody worked hard to put out a good product tonight, and it was, it was good for us.
Joining Dale at the podium right now is our third place finisher, and that's Greg Biffle. He drives the number 16 3M Ford for Roush Fenway Racing. And Greg, congratulations on a super performance out there tonight, and talk about how things played out for your team here this evening.
Well, obviously, wish we'd have done a few things maybe a little bit different, but it was we had a great speed weeks. Come out of here with a third place finish is really exciting for us. More importantly, we didn't wreck. Got a good finish. I still am a little blown away by the end of that, the end of the race that we weren't able to push up to the back of the 17 car. I was kind of surprised by that, but next time maybe we'll do something a little bit different.
All right, let's come back downstairs. I think Dan, did you have a question? Dan Wetzel? I don't think so. I don't see him now. Other questions for either Mark Long had one.
Well, for both of you guys, but we'll start with Dale. You talked about the craziness of the speed weeks in the day, but what about the fact of the prime time Monday night Daytona 500? Could you ever see that in the future?
I don't know. I don't know nothing about networks and ratings, so I wouldn't. That's a question for Helton or somebody like maybe Brian France.
But it just felt like a normal night race to you then?
Yeah, I'll race any night you want to race. We were talking about it on the back straightaway. That was kind of fun, actually. Standing around the back straightaway.
Let's stop halfway through and talk to everybody.
It reminded me of at Hickory when we'd race over there and they'd have a funeral. And you'd have to stop, and everybody could talk about the race or whatever you want to talk about. But I don't know. We were.
Come up there in just a second.
When you're in the car, you don't think about what night it is, and you could just forget, really, to be honest. But whenever they want us to race, we'll race.
And Greg, for the craziness of between yesterday and today, just kind of the whole.
Yeah, it's this. Well, the weather down here had been kind of unusual the entire time. One day it's 90 degrees, the next day it's, high 50s. So, it was up and down, and you always expect a little bit of rain showers, but that was probably more than what we've seen down here in a long time. And it was unfortunate it got delayed, but I think the race went pretty well, and I hope that a lot of people got to see it.
Let's go back upstairs for a question or two. Go ahead for either Greg or Dale.
Monty Dutton, Gaston Gazette. Greg, one thing about the end, and I know that you expressed your own being a little mystified by it, but when there's so many times when two guys bump draft and gobble up the guy in front of them, well, the guys bump drafting were you and Dale Jr. You couldn't get to Kenseth. Why couldn't you get to Kenseth?
That's a good question. Here's the thing, and I don't know what it was. All night, Junior had been shoving me against the back of the 17 car, at will. And then granted, he had somebody pushing him, but we weren't locked together. Anytime you get locked together, the things just go. They'll just take off like before, when the tandem racing. And so once he got against my bumper, and I made sure he stayed against it around the corner. I was about 3/4 throttle or something, and then once we got straight, I pushed the gas down, and I thought that we'd drive up on the back of the 17 without a problem, and it must have just pushed enough air out in front of my car that it pushed the 17 car out, about 5-6 feet in front of me, and I couldn't get any closer. And I thought, well, I need to get out from behind him, because then we'll be able to go by him. And so on the backstretch, I moved up a little bit. And Matt's not stupid. We had no run at him. We were all going the same speed. So when I moved over, Matt just moved over real easy. And Junior's against my back bumper, so I'm trying not to wreck because he's, shoving on me, and I'm doing this down the back. And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to get, a run at him. So probably the only thing that at that point I could have done And I didn't know how much heat he had on him from behind, or was the top lane coming. But probably the only thing I could have done is got real straight down the back stretch and pushed the brake pedal down pretty hard, and kept going straight and slowed both of our cars down a fair amount, and then let him make a run at Matt around 3 and 4, and then we could have moved up beside him, coming off the corner, and then, Junior and I had to dice it out to the line. So that's probably what I should have done is just anchor down the brakes down the back stretch and put distance in between us. Matt and I is, the only way we probably would have got a run at. But I thought for sure I didn't need to do that. Of course, Monday morning quarterback, I'd do it now, but I didn't think I needed to. I thought he'd shove me right up to his back bumper. So, he had all night. I had no doubt it would happen then.
Stay in press box. Go ahead.
Yes, this is Mike Vega, the Boston Globe, for both for Greg and for Dale. Extraordinary amount of downtime that you guys had the last 37 hours, including during this race when you had that red flag delay. I mean, how did you guys manage, to deal with all that? Getting ready to race yesterday and then today, and then in the middle of this race to kind of ratchet it up right at a critical moment of this race.
I've been cooped up in a motorhome in the infield with a 7.5-month-old, my baby daughter, and cooped up for 13 days. So I'll tell you what, the last 2 days sitting over there in the rain I've had my fill, and I was ready to drive. I was ready to race, let alone, you get all that adrenaline, that excitement, and you just got to sit around. And I looked at the same walls regardless, just, we're down here for a long time. You're ready to get going and get home and go to the next race.
Yeah, I feel about the same.
Maybe have time for one more question. One more question. Anybody?
Just as a follow-up for both guys. During that delay, you obviously were entertained by Brad Keselowski's, Twitter account. Did you guys Twitter anybody, or did you play with it at all during that time?
I didn't. I think he was looking at the data on there. So.
Yeah, I heard he was in trouble for having a recording device in his car. But no, I think Brad. That's how Brad is, man. He's just that's what he likes and what he enjoys. And I thought it was pretty funny. We did take the phone and put it to some use and looked up the weather.
Yeah,
because it was drizzling a little bit, so it did come in handy.
That's for sure.
Dale and Greg, congratulations on an exciting evening, a great speed weeks, and a good way to start the season.
Yeah.
Good luck in Phoenix.